When we study the children literary very thoroughly, we can see there are more than 15 genres.
When I was in school, I just hated history because I thought it was all about war and everybody is fighting.
Children grow day by day. So we can't use the same cloth at the different age. Likewise, in children's literature, we need different format for the different age level.
There will be conflicting reports, and to figure out what is right and what is wrong, whose narrative can be believed and whose cannot be believed, comparing all these things was a real challenge. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Pushpa Kurup, and today I have great pleasure in welcoming Srimati V.V Pathmaseeli from Sri Lanka. She writes some very beautiful stories for little children. I was just going through some of her books. There are even books for preschool children, and the stories invariably have a socially purposeful theme. So children learn very early good habits, empathy, consideration for others, critical thinking. So they're very carefully designed. So without going into details, it's better you hear things from her. So I will ask a few questions. V.V Pathmaseeli, you are a versatile genius. To use a management cliche, you wear many hats. Could you tell us a little bit about your writing career?
Namaskar. Thank you very much, Pushpa, regarding your kind words. I like to share my life experience with you. I earned my first degree in business management from University of Colombo in 1997. After that, I did the same. I earned postgraduate diploma in business administration in the same university, and I start my work career as a micro entrepreneur by establishing IBMC. IBMC stands for Institute of Business Management Consultancy. In short form, we say IBMC. And I served few years. After that, I moved my career to training sector. Sometimes you may know Dr. John Colum and Dr. Rudolph. I trained under them for NLP and motivation and attitude development. And I served more than 15 years for the corporate sector employees as a corporate trainer. After that, I had a passion for reading. At the same time, I had a dream to write a book. So I realized my dream in 2007 by publishing one children book, picture book. So after that, time to time I publish many books, especially children books. So after that I decided I have to study the children literature thoroughly, because I earned my first and second degrees in different area. So I decided to study in that new field. So luckily, by chance, I was selected by for the intensive author training course by the Room to Read Sri Lanka. So in 2010, I think, 2010. Do you know, sometimes you may have know that Subir Sukla, one of the greatest educationalists in India. I trained under him more than 1 month continuously on children writing and picture book. So from 2010, since 2010, I have been engaged in different activities, all in children literature activities. So this is the way I approach to this field.
Ma'am, you write mainly for children, right?
Yes.
Little stories with deep meaning, stories that tug at the heartstrings. In which language do you write?
Pushpa, normally preliminary I write in Sinhala, but as you all know, in Sri Lanka, we live together with many cultural and ethnic groups. So most of our books translated for the Tamil and English.
Romba sandosham.
Nandri.
I read one of your stories in which a little girl tries hard to get a book from her school library, to say it's not a correct word, it's simply dumped somewhere. So she keeps going there and trying again and again, and every time she shooed off by the principal and other people. But after she asked many times, finally she gets the book which she wanted. And after a day or two, we find her reading out this book and teaching the other little children in a small group in the school compound, you see. Ma'am, is there an autobiographical element to the story?
Yes, Pushpa, you are correct. First, before tell something about that book, I would like to show you that book. This is the book.
So I'll show, you can talk.
A door was opened. This is my life experience. Let me allow to share my life experience. I was spent my childhood in Kota, in Dayagama, Nuwareli district, in upcountry province. It is situated in upcountry province. Okay, with very minimum facilities. So those days life is very hard. But that area is very beautiful. You can see the Nuwareli is a very beautiful area in our country. So my father is a laborer in that farm. We lived in a livestock farm and livestock farm. Then my father is a laborer, my mother is a housewife. Then in cold season, sometimes we walk shivering because we didn't have warm clothes. At the same time, school journey also little bit hard one because we have to walk 3-4 kilometers along with hilly path. After schools also, it's more harder, more difficult because we had to climb hill in hunger. So it's very difficult period and with minimum facilities. So in my school, only 50 children were there. My school, whole school, only 50 children. Then in my school, there was a small office room. There is a big cupboard. But these cupboards locked with padlock, and I have a curiosity to find what was inside. After that, I've noticed there were books full of many books inside the cupboard. From that day onwards, I make different effort as a little girl to get the books for reading. This experience I have written as a book. Finally, I achieved that dream by opening that library. My dear friends, even today, my effort, my struggle is not over, even today. You know why? That day I struggled, I put my effort to read, get books from that cupboard. Today, my struggle with books to give quality means in appearance, at the same time in content for the whole world, children. So that journey is not finished. We try to uplift our Sri Lankan children's literary to the world standard. So my journey is not finished yet.
Very interesting. Since 2010, you have been deeply engaged in children's literature. In addition to the different genres, children's literature also encompasses various formats. How do these different formats play a meaningful role?
Actually, that's a very good question, Pushpa. Because when we study the children literary very thoroughly, we can see, there are more than 15 genres, different genres. If we say that picture book, realistic picture book, fiction, science fiction, historical fiction, fantasy, fairy tale, folk tale, fables, legends. There are more than 15 different genres. So, in addition to that, according to our experience, we believe we need more different format, children books format. If I get an example, we can see children grow day by day. So we can't use the same cloth at the different age. We have to change the cloth according to their age level. Likewise, in children's literature, we need different format for the different age level. I can say there are more than 10 different format. From then I'll give some example. Years 0 to 12 months. That means for the less than 1 year children, infant, we need cloth book at the visual card. Cloth book and visual card. Then visual card develop their sensory things, and at the same time their visualization. And touch book also, sound book also very important. Those books for infant to develop their sensory and visualization. After that, for the grade year 1 to 3, we need the board book and wordless book. Board book and wordless book. there is no words in that book, but basic concepts of the basic concepts like colors, mathematical concepts can and other things, living and non-living worlds, things we can show in that board book. So that's for the children who are in that 3 to 5. After that, 3 to 7, we can use 2 types of books. One is picture book. Picture book. Picture books means, which I saw earlier, more 80% of the book is picture and only 20% is text. Picture book. At the same time, there is a big format called big books. Sometimes you can show the big books, very large format. This is called big books. This is for the early readers and teachers for classroom use and parents for storytelling. For the group of children, we can do the reading with them. So that after the picture book, I want to say something. In Sri Lanka, we didn't have, in our language, we didn't have picture book, big books. Last 5-6 years, we have published more books, big books, because we want to instill the reading habit of our children. Then I'll come to my topic again. After the picture book, we can have another book, illustrated books. Illustrated for the readers who can read the books independently with pictures and very small text. And then we can move to the chapter books and children graphic and novel and so on. After that, graphic novel and comic books. So there are so many books. As I said earlier, if we want to get the potential of our children, we have to approach a holistic approach. When we consider the child development, first we have to develop their physical development. It is very important to develop sensory development, especially fine motor skills and gross motor skills. We can develop the fine motor skills through books. At the same time, we have to develop the cognitive skills. Cognitive skills means that memory, attention, imagination, and creative and critical thinking, mathematical concepts, and those things. And third one is that social and emotional intelligence. Under that social and emotional intelligence, we have to give the ideas to children how live with family, peer groups, and schools and everywhere. And we can say about the different emotion, empathy about others, and those things. And fourth one is language and communication skill development. There are 4 segments that under that language we can improve the vocabulary, then there are early reading, the language, these things we can under that category. Then we say there are 4 areas we have to consider. So that develop all 4 areas, we have to take that. We need that different format. Different format is very, very essential. So all holistic development. So with the jhanas as well as the different format is essential for child development.
Pathmaseeli ma'am, we have learnt a lot from you in this couple of minutes. You and I, we have a lot in common, including management education, corporate training, and the fact that we are both writers. But frankly, there are many of these things that she just said are news to me. I don't know if it's news to you as well, but very, very interesting and worth learning. I think we need to, I mean, I have myself written some stories for children, but I think they are, only children who are above the age of 10 will be able to handle those books. I think all of us need to think seriously about preschool children, writing books for them, and then how to cultivate the reading habit. That brings me to yet another question. Everywhere in the world, the reading habit is under a threat, as children have many gadgets and many activities to distract them. And their parents also may not be in the habit of reading books. What measures have you adopted in Sri Lanka to induce children to read?
Like other world, Sri Lanka also same. There are a lot of distractions for the reading books. At the same time, that situation is very worst after the COVID. Children use computer, mobile phones, games and those things. That's a common problem for us. So as in Sri Lanka, I can share my experience. Last 2-3 years, we can see some improvement in children literary literature because the government also established different program to improve the children literature. If I say this way, reading habit is a skill. We want to improve that skill like other subject. We have to improve that skill. So that our aim in Sri Lanka, our aim to build an independent reader at the end of the primary education. So that our focus is learn to read. For learn to read, and finally we can see final outcome is independent reader. So for that purpose we have to follow 4 steps. One is loud reading, second one is shared reading, third one is guided reading, and final independent reading. There are 4 types of reading to develop an independent reader. So loud reading means by using this type of big books at the early stage of the children, especially in preschool and primary, we can do the loud reading and shared reading. After that, guided reading means that in group wise we can do the guide reading. Likewise, in Sri Lanka we practice that reading habits. In addition to that, recently government established different institute, that is NCCB, separate consortium, national consortium for children's books. That is only for children's books. That main partner is Ministry of Education and the Room to Read Sri Lanka. There are other partners as well. So they collaboratively established NCCB, and last September they have published children book policy. So and at the NCB at the same time they are making policies for the children books. At the same time they train authors, writers, editors, art directors and designers for quality books, because there are 6 parties involved in develop one book. One is author, an illustrator, an editor, and art director, designer, and finally publisher. So that we need more, this book is a collective effort. We can't publish a book 90%. We have to present good thing for the children, so that we have to assure that we have to present up to 100%, not 90%, so that we put all effort to produce finally good books in according to the world standard. So that last 2-3 years, all we work together on that target. At the same time, we are campaigning parents, children and teachers to instill the reading habit. This is the plan. Okay. I think Pushpa, then you asked so many questions. I like to share your, I like to talk about your books as well. I met Pushpa at Ahmedabad. She showed me this book there. All of you know about Pushpa, so that I am not going to ask anything about her past experience. So with the limited time, I like to go with that your new book. Here you can see that book. Pushpa, then your latest book, Malabar, Mysore, and A Tale of Two Sultan, offers deep dive into the story of Alida Ali and Tipu Sultan. What inspired you to choose this particular topic? And how did you approach writing history book as someone who is not a historian?
Well, this is my latest book, Malabar, Mysore, and A Tale of Two Sultans. It's about the impact of Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan on the, mainly on the region of Malabar, but also the rest of South India. The reason I picked this topic was, it's very different from my earlier books because it's history and I'm not a historian. As I just said, my education has been in management and my work also is into, I was in the corporate sector for a long time, many, many decades actually. And when I was in school, I just hated history because I thought it was all about war and everybody is fighting, and you have to write all these details, who attacked whom and how many people were killed and things like that. So I just used to study a little bit to get marks, But I heard about these two people from my grandmother even before I started school. So whenever my grandmother talks about the atrocities of the British, which our family nicely suffered in those days, she would always mention Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan in the same breath and say that they also attacked us and killed many of our ancestors. So before I went to school, there were only 4 historical figures I had heard about: Gandhi, Nehru, Hyder, Tipu. Gandhi and Nehru, she would say they saved us and all that and, got independence for India. And these two people, they have destroyed all our clans and all that. So even later in school, when I studied about them, I didn't give that much importance. I just left it. But then as the years passed and, today we have a lot more learning sources on the internet. Many of the old books written by the British and the French and all in those days, you can now easily download. So when I started reading all those things, and I was looking around whether somebody else will write, recent history, but I found that nobody is writing. Then I thought, okay, let me try my hand at it. And I started doing this work. Pathmaseeli, being a non-historian, I must have had a bit of a complex. So I really burned the midnight oil. I read everything I could find and related to it that I could read. I traveled everywhere that I could travel and tried to find out things firsthand. And I also, spent a lot of time correcting and going over. And then again, when the publisher came into the, they would ask all kinds of questions. Are you sure this is right? Is it like that? The other writer has given like this. So it took a year of copy editing actually to come out with the final book.
Great. Again, then I have to ask, Malabar and Mysore are rich in history and culture. How did you balance the historical fact with engaging storytelling to make a book accessible and captivating for a wider audience?
Now, at the risk of displeasing my Kannadiga friends, I have to say that Malabar has a much longer and richer history. The Emperor Ashoka in the 3rd century BC has mentioned the Kerala Putras along with the Cholas and the Pandyas and Sri Lanka also as people outside his realm. And we all know that the Romans were visiting, everybody was visiting, the trade was going on. In fact, it's also rumored that King Solomon, he sourced the wood for building the Temple of Jerusalem from Kerala. Now, this is of course a rumor, there is no evidence, but there is evidence for everything else. Ashoka has written it in the Girnar inscription in Gujarat, you can go and see. Okay, so very rich, of course, being a coastal area, naturally it will have an advantage over the interior areas like Mysore. I'm not saying that Mysore doesn't have a rich history, but of what we know, the Malabar coast has a much longer and recorded history. The Romans have written about us and all that. As far as making the book interesting, because it's history and there are a lot of things that will be boring. What I have tried to do is I have included many anecdotes of, for example, Velluva Kammaran Nambyar, who became Ayaz Khan, and the British called him Hayat Sahib. His story, he was a favorite of Hyder Ali. He was taken away from the Kolatri Raja's clan when he was very small, and he was converted and became Hyder Ali's favorite. He was a governor of Bidanur, and later he surrendered it to the British. And then there is Velu Nachiyar, a very courageous woman who was a queen of Shivaganga. She was somewhat under the protection of Hyder Ali for many years. When her husband was killed, she has to escape. But finally, she goes back to Shivaganga. She makes a daring attack with the women's battalion and recaptures her kingdom and rules it for many years. So there are many such people. Veluthambi Dalava, people from here will be aware. After the death of Tipu Sultan, the British will systematically finish off many other leaders. There is Veerapanda Kattabomman. Like that, all of these people, they will find a place in my book, Parsi Raja. So there are many interesting parts in the book, which if I just focus on Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, it might be a bit boring. So I've tried to do that.
Nice. Then, if we say that this book, Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan are often viewed through contrasting perspectives, different perspectives. Some see them as heroes, while others see them as conquerors. How do you present their legacy in your book?
Well, they were 18th century characters. In those days, if you win more battles than you lose, you are seen as a hero. Okay? Some of the portrayals of especially Tipu Sultan, which have come later, more modern portrayals, they show a little distorted version of reality. So I have tried to set the record straight by relying on all sources that are available to give the correct picture of the sultans and what is their legacy. As far as Malabar was concerned, their domination was for a period of 25 years. In the Mysore kingdom, they lasted for 40 years. Hyder Ali was the one who actually created the kingdom, or rather he took over, usurped the kingdom from the Wadiyars, okay, Wadiyars as they are called. So, I believe I have tried to do justice. It was very difficult because there are very different ways of looking at these people. And there are people who, a lot of people who consider Tipu Sultan as a great hero. Of course, those people will be a little disappointed when they read my book because there is not the heroism that is depicted today. Okay.
Okay. As an author, venturing into the historical and non-fiction, what challenges did you face in researching and interpreting historical event? And how do you ensure accuracy while maintaining a narrative flow?
Well, here there is no shortage of information in the, especially when it comes to the Tipu Sultan's face. There are lots of written sources. The British wrote about him, the French wrote about him, the Portuguese, the Dutch, Persian, and all the vernacular Indian languages you find accounts right from the time, from early stages of Hyder Ali's career itself. Even before he took over Mysore, there are people who have written about him, who have participated in the wars with him. So there are letters, there are books, all kinds of secret communications. Everything is available. The problem is that, see, there will be conflicting reports, and to figure out what is right and what is wrong, whose narrative can be believed and whose cannot be believed. So, you know, comparing all these things was a real challenge. And I really cannot say how I did it because I really had to break my head and spend a lot of time burning the midnight oil. But I have come to my own conclusions, and I believe I have not added any masala, salt, pepper like that just to make it interesting. If I have added my own conjectures or guesses or anything, I have stated all those things up front that this is my guess.
Yeah, I appreciate your great effort. Yeah, my next question is, history book often hold lesson for the present. What do you hope readers, especially from younger generation, will take away from Malabar, Mysore and Tale of Two Sultan?
History is always, it relates to the past. But by learning history, it's easier for us to understand the present and to make a roadmap for the future. Now, am I supposed to hate my Muslim friends and neighbors because 250 years ago, Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, they attacked my clansmen and killed many of them? No way. Hate doesn't pay. What we need to learn is that, at least I hope the youth of today will understand that war is not the best method of dispute resolution. I would also say here that men invented war, not women. And it is not at all a good invention in my opinion. I hope the men in the audience will not attack me. This also is a historical truth. I am not cooking it up. Okay? Men invented war, and it is found to be not so effective. I like to think that it's fading out, but now and then we find that it is resurfacing. Today we have wars in many parts of the world that we are always feeling sad about, in Israel, Gaza, Ukraine, a lot of, smaller places that are less heard, but also there is gang warfare in some small countries. All these things are there. But as a senior, my hope is that war is dying out, and the youth will realize the futility of war and learn to forgive and forget and move on. We need to bury the hatchet sometime. And by denial, actually for years I feel we have been in denial about, especially when I speak about Malabar, the impact of the sultans on Malabar is usually not talked about except in whispers. Every family has got its oral tradition, and it will be passed on. Like my grandmother passed on to me, and I have also passed on to my daughter. I have stopped with my grandchildren because they are Americans. Now they may read the book, I don't know. We need to stop somewhere. We need to talk it over, discuss, debate, whatever it is, and then learn to move on. This is what has happened in the past. This is what we can do today. How can I love my neighbor today? That is what the youth should take it forward.
Thank you. That's your great ideas.
Before we conclude, Pathmaseeli, I have one final question for you. As we look ahead, how can we shape a better world for future generations? What role can children's literature play in fostering empathy, critical thinking, and global awareness among young readers?
Yes, as we know, our earth future depends on our younger generation. The whole world depends on our younger generation. So, all we know that problems will increase day by day, and future also our children have to face lot of challenges. If you say that climate change, global warming, air and water pollution, environmental distractions, and lack of natural resources, likewise, there are so many problems they have to face. So on the other side, with the technology, day by day, our life is more complex, full with more problems. So I strongly believe, so that purpose, children need, tomorrow global child need, decision-making skill, creative and analytical skill, at the problem-solving skills. As an author, as an editor, I strongly believe that we can improve the strong human values like love, kindness, forgiveness, caring, happiness, determination, persistence, and empathy through children's literature. At the same time, we can improve. If we do very carefully children's books, we can improve the decision making, creative and critical thinking, and problem solving as well. So, my last message is, if we let's work together to improve the quality of the children's literature day by day, then we can develop the strong human values and other skills through children's literature. Let's work together.
Definitely, ma'am. Thank you very much. Does anybody in the audience want to ask any question? We have another 5 minutes.
Madam Pathmaseeli, my question is regarding all the digital bus going around, just like Alexa, the digital gadgets for children, and all other digital assistants. How can we make a child an independent reader? Your suggestion in the Sri Lankan ambience is quite different from that of India. Sri Lanka is amid the economic mess and also amid the tourist hub, being a tourist hub. How you can attract the distracted children to the world of books? It is very wonderful effort on the Sri Lankan part.
Yeah.
It is a very wonderful effort on the Sri Lankan part. Can you suggest some tips for replicating the Sri Lankan experience to India, making every kid a independent reader, a responsible reader, and so forth?
Actually, time to time, your question is not much clear for me. Because of the distractions from the children literature, so that actually, as I said, reading is a skill, so we have to develop a step by step, so that we need a a very good plan for instill the reading habit. So that purpose we need different format for the different age, so that collaboratively we can work together to improve that skill. We can learn from your side and you can learn from our side. We can negotiate and the things what we have.
Ma'am, my name is Sijo, and I want to ask you about if a child is suffering from ADHD.
Sorry?
A child is suffering from ADHD.
Yeah.
So how can we tailor that educational book according to ADHD? And my second question is that if I want to parent a child and I want to inculcate some complex ideas from the childhood, example, I want to teach my child quantum physics from childhood. So how can I communicate to that child at that level, at that children's level? So since you have focused on child psychology, I am asking you that question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that child are different. They are learning, their behaving is different. Sometimes maybe disorders as well. So that general books are not enough to develop their skills. We need separate or selected books for their improvement. If we say that touch book and not only book, we need another fine and gross motor skills to develop that kind of children. Books is not enough. Books is not enough to develop the holistic, develop the child. So that is, book is one part. So that for your first question, my answer is that especially we have to design selected books for them, and we have to carefully, because if we have child psychology understanding for parents, it is good actually, because child is a separate character. He has different potential, so that we have to identify their potentials and we have to allow them to grow in their path, not according to our wishes. Your second question is?
Actually, ADHD he was asking. I think maybe even psychologists may not have thought about things like that, to write specially for children with attention deficit.
Yeah.
So that is one thing maybe you can think about, what will attract them, because you'll have to sit and work with them to know, what sort of writing attracts them. It's not easy to keep them down, because they are very distracted, hyperactive, and their mind is working at a different level, right?
There is a separate therapies for that, different therapies. Then personally, we have to consult a counselor or psychiatric. Then step by step, we have a separate plan for him to develop.
If I want to make my child a prodigy from childhood, then how can I inculcate complex ideas how can I teach my child?
My dear, actually...
Just a minute.
And also I want to know about...
Siju, I would say please allow the child to be a child. Why do we want to teach quantum mechanics to a child preschool? Let the child enjoy, play. You don't want the child to sit and read the whole day. Even though we are both authors, I would not like any children to just sit and read even my own book for the full day. Yeah, the child must play, it must enjoy life. I'm sure that's a child's opinion also.
Yeah.
You ask the child whether it wants to read the book or it wants to play.
Yeah, child is a child, my dear. So that even though they are our son or daughter, they are not belong to us. We have to give the independence to develop themselves. They have their own spiritual life. They have their own things which they bring. So that if we want to take the full potential of a human, we only, parents, only we are facilitators. Then we have to allow them to develop independently. Then only whatever his positions, then they will work very in good manner as an adult. So don't push our hopes, our expectation on their soldiers.
That is not difficult, no? There are always elders, even students, they're studying in the 10th standard, they will be able to guide the child. There are a lot of sources on the internet, a lot of lectures are there where you can listen, you can hear.
Yeah, that's why we need more material should be developed, specialists who have knowledge about the children behavior. We can't, every person can't do on behalf of the children. It is very difficult task, right, for children. It's very difficult task. Very difficult task. So that we have to study it. I think even me, more than 15 years, still studying the field.
My question is about the, can you hear me? Yeah. The question is to both of you, Pathmaseeli and Pushpa. Is there any difference between the hierarchy of reading, learning between the boys and girls? I mean, the childhood, the kid will start to talk first, then read a bit, then the third phase will be writing. Is there any difference between the type of learning between a boy and a girl? The reason why I'm asking is my daughter is 13 years old and my kid
louder
is...
please, because...
My daughter is 13 years old.
13?
Yeah.
13.
Yeah. And my son is 7 years old. I find a difference between the way the boy learns things and the girl learns things. Girl is a bit faster in learning, reading and writing. The boys are slower. The second question is particularly to Pathmaseeli madam. About the change in government, the politics in Sri Lanka. I believe there is a left government in place now, a new president. How do you feel? What's the feedback of that left government? Because there are a lot of fans of left ideology here in this part of the world.
Yeah, but
He says there's a left government now in Sri Lanka. We also have a leftist government in power in the state of Kerala. So he wants to know if there is anything in common. But there is how big is the change of leadership now? It's a political question. You can pass
That's
it or answer it.
Yeah, a political question. Because earlier we had some problems in politically unstable. I'm not much interested in political, but however that now present leadership is different. However that we can't say exactly. The time is not enough to give direct opinion. However, they put effort to for the better economic and human better environment. So we'll wait and see the results. At present, it's much stable economically and politically.
Madam, I got a lot of friends from Sri Lanka. What is your opinion about the changes which have happened last 50 years? Ethnic problems have created a lot of problems. Political problems. Now economic problems. Just for example, in Colombo, there was a big library of Tamil. In Colombo city, it was totally burnt by some ethnic group. And in Jaffna also they had problem. How these incidents have affected the reading habits and the education of Sri Lanka?
In general, I would say whenever there is political instability, then education suffers and reading habit suffers. I don't think it's specific to Sri Lanka. Anywhere in the world, you don't expect now in Gaza people will be reading books, right? And availability of books, everything will be affected when there is political instability. So I don't think we should sit in judgment on those events, and especially in our neighbors.
Those days actually affected not only for that affected children, that because of the war or political things, all affect in different way, all affected. Not only the Tamil or Sinhala or Muslims, all affected. It is not only our country, where is the war, where is the political instability, it affects for all. So that actually what we need, that peaceful country, respecting for all.